And now this passage, in this chapter, all 26 verses, we can find the miracle, the message, and the meaning to it all. And I want us to look at it in that way. And as we look first of all at the miracle. Look in verse 1. Now Peter and John were going up to the temple at the 9th hour, about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, for an hour of prayer. And a man who had been lame from the mother's womb was being carried along, whom they used to set down every day at the gate of the temple, which is called Beautiful, in order to beg alms of those who were entering the temple. When he saw Peter and John about to go into the temple, he began asking to receive alms. But Peter, along with John, fixed his gaze upon him and said, look at us, look at us. And he began to give them attention, expecting to receive something from them. Now we look at this and we understand what's happening here reminds us so much of Mark chapter 2, where the paralytic man was healed by Jesus. Remember, the friends brought him, opened up the hole in the roof, and lowered him down. So they had friends, at least four guys, I think it was, to bring him down and to bring him and lower him down in front of Jesus so they could beat the crowds, because the crowds were just all around the house and they couldn't get in. Well, this man also had friends. And they brought him maybe to the gate every day. And every day, Peter and John would pass by and maybe give him something on occasion out of what they had. And suddenly one day, he said, look at us. Verse 6 is one of those famous verses in the Bible, where Peter said, and I'll say it in the King James, silver and gold have I none, but such as I have I give unto thee. Stand up and walk. And so the man was looking for one thing, but Peter gave him something much, much better. And we look at this verse, and it says, I do not possess silver and gold, but what I do have I give to you in the name of Jesus. The Nazarene walked, and seizing him by the right hand, he raised him up, and immediately his feet and his ankles were strengthened. With a leap, he stood upright and began to walk. And he entered the temple with them, walking and leaping and praising God. And all the people saw him walking and praising God. And they were taking note of him as the one who used to sit at the beautiful gate of the temple to beg alms. And they were filled with wonder and amazement at what had happened to him. Well, let me just say this about this passage, and that is this. This is a descriptive passage in the Bible, not a prescriptive. Prescriptive means you do this, this is going to happen. You pray this, this is going to happen. It's a descriptive passage. What Luke is trying to do here is simply give us the historical facts of what happened in that day. And the fact was, Peter and John were walking along, saw this man again by the beautiful gate, and instead of giving him an offering, they gave him legs. They gave him a healing to walk. And so it's historical. It's descriptive of what happened. Doesn't mean that every time we come into a church and just happen to see somebody begging, a lame person begging by the door, that we can say, silver and gold have I none, such as I have I given to thee, stand up and walk. It's not an incantation. It's not something that's a magical word or anything. It's a descriptive passage of what happened. Many people were healed in the book of Acts. And it was an indication of what was happening in the disciples' life was an extension of what was happening in the life of Jesus as well, as he had performed so many miracles. Remember what happened in the Old Testament. When Moses was the leader of the nation of Israel, he parted the Red Sea. Well, Moses was dead then. Joshua came along. What happened? Well, the people needed to recognize Joshua's leadership. And so God parted the Jordan River. And so we see the same parallelism going on here, that Peter and John and the rest of the disciples were performing miracles, and there were historical events that happened. Now, it's amazing to me as I study the book of Acts that almost all, in fact, really all the miracles happened to people that were not saved.